everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to part 2 of my what I've been making this summer. So if you haven't watched part 1 of my summer makes video, I'll link it down below. Basically I'm doing a bit of a bumper month. I haven't recorded a video, so and tell type video for a couple of months now, so I had about 8 things to show, so I decided to split it into 2 videos so that my video wasn't sort of endlessly long. So I'll link part 1 down below and you can pop over and watch that if you'd like to. So just to quickly do the usual YouTube spiel, if you haven't subscribed to my channel already, I'd love you to subscribe. I post lots of sewing content, so if you're into sewing too, I'd love you to subscribe and click the notification bell so that you can be notified of any future videos I might make. I'll just let you know what I'm wearing today. Today I'm wearing my Agnes top, which looks a little bit scrunched up here, probably how I'm sitting. My grey Agnes top that I showed in my part 1 makes video, and my Dominique skirt. So on with part 2 of my what I've been making this summer. So I'm going to carry on with the order. I'm just showing you in the order that I actually made them. So this one, which you may have already seen again, is a lovely summer dress hack, which I made in a collaboration with Becky from Notes from the Sewing Room. We joined together to make a sort of one fabric two ways type video, and we both bought this fabric and we made different things, and I decided to make a kind of hack of the Sully dress and the mirror dress by Fibre Mood. So this top half is the Sodley blouse and dress by Megan Nielsen, and the bottom half is the Fibre Mood mirror dress skirt. And I've just put them together to make a lovely squishy kind of swishy summer dress, which I'm really pleased with. And this is the dress that I originally had in my head for the orange fabric that I used for my Eve dress, which I showed in part 1. So I think I made the right choice there, because I think maybe that orange fabric wouldn't have worked as nicely for this dress as the pink does. I'm really pleased with how this looks. It's really kind of girly, I suppose, and floaty and floral. So I won't talk too much more about that one because I have got a whole other video talking about that and how I made it, and my collaboration with Becky, and I'll link that video down below if you want to go and watch that one. So next, something a little bit different. I decided to have a go at shearing. So as we all have, I've seen so many lovely sheared dresses on Instagram, and at first I was a little bit, don't know if it's for me, don't know if I really want to try that, but as with everything, more and more dresses cropped up and I thought, oh, I'd like to have a go at that actually. So one afternoon, I had a child-free afternoon and I'd ordered my shearing elastic from Amazon and it had arrived, so I thought I'd just give it a go. So as I understand, there are lots of different ways to shear. Machines do it differently. Sometimes you have to hand wind the bobbin, sometimes you can machine wind the bobbin. I think it all depends on how your machine works. So with my one, I have a Janome Atelier 6. I hand wound the elastic onto my bobbin and I just experimented with different stitch lengths. I experimented first of all on a piece of viscose that I had. It's actually a scrap of this fabric that I've used for this skirt, and I tried out different stitch lengths, and I think for that fabric it used about a 3.5 length stitch with the elastic, and it sheared really nicely. With the dress I'm about to show you, it's with a cotton, I increased my stitch length to about a 5, which is almost like a gathering length. It's the longest length that my machine does anyway, and that's what worked for that fabric. So I think with shearing, what I'm finding out is that with everything that you're making, you just need to kind of experiment and see what stitch length you need and how your machine is going to sew that fabric with the elastic. So yeah, after a bit of practicing, I decided to have a go at making this little dress for my daughter. And this is probably the simplest dress you can get. It's just a metre of fabric that I'd had in my stash for ages. I cut it just in a rectangle to the length that I knew that she would be, I just measured that on one of our other dresses, and in one long piece I did my shearing lines along the top of the rectangle, and then I sewed the side seam in a French seam just to enclose all those little bit of elastic ends and things, and that's worked really well. And I was so pleased with how that turned out actually. I think with shearing, and I know lots of people have said this, you kind of feel like it's not going right at first, because the more rows you do, the tighter it gets. And certainly when I started this, I thought, oh, it's not gathering very much, but the more rows I did, the more it gathered. And then I'd read a tip online saying that if you hover your steam iron over your sheared section, it really brings it in, and I did that, and it really has brought it in even more. So that's it stretched out, as you can see. And yeah, the steam just kind of really brought it in nicely. So I'm really pleased with how that turned out, and it gives this kind of frilly edge at the top there as well. So yeah, I literally just hemmed the top and bottom of my rectangle before I started shearing, and then I did about 10 rows of shearing, and that was it, and then you have a dress. But obviously I just did a side seam as well in a French seam and enclosed all my little raggedy ends, and then I just made 2 little straps and tied them in a bow, and you have a dress. So yeah, I'm really, really liking this shearing trend. That's the only bit of shearing I've done so far, but I think I am. I'd love to try it again. I'm not sure if it's something that I'd wear for myself, but certainly for sort of little girls' dresses and tops, I really like that look. And I keep seeing more and more little sheared tops in the shop, and I keep thinking, oh, I'd love to have a go at making that. So I might have another go at making my daughter either like a pretty little blouse for autumn, or another dress, maybe with sleeves or something. But yeah, that was my first attempt at shearing. So I'll just show you what it looks like inside actually, if you can see. So that's all the elastic that you get on the underside of the bobbin. I did find that my bobbins ran out really quickly, so if you were doing an adult size bodice, you would need say 3 or 4 bobbins worth of elastic to get like an adult's bodice worth of shearing. So it's worth winding your bobbins before you start, because I didn't do that, and it was quite annoying having to stop and start winding my bobbins as I went, kind of thing. So next time I'll definitely be more organised, and I will get my bobbins ready before I start. Yeah, really, really happy with that little dress, and I'm really pleased to have tried a new technique and to know how to do that now. It's definitely something that I wanted to try for a while, so I'm glad that I now know how to do that. And so next up I have a French pattern, which you may or may not have heard of. This is the Portofino top by a French pattern company called Apolline Patterns, and I'll link them down below. I found them on Instagram, and I'm a little bit addicted to the style of all of their clothes, so this definitely won't be the last of the patterns that I make from them. So this is just a simple cami top with the flounce around the bodice. As you can see, it's fully lined on the inside, and really it's very similar in construction to the Ogden cami top, except for obviously that you have the button band down the middle, which is actually a fake button band because you don't need to open the buttons. It's plenty kind of wide enough to just pop over your head. So that is actually, the buttons are just sewn on, there's no buttonholes to do or anything like that, which is always a bonus. So I bought this pattern as a PDF, and it was all in French because they're a French pattern company, and I don't think any of their patterns are in English. So I got on Google Translate and literally just translated every paragraph of the pattern. The pattern's really well written. There are little diagrams as you go along, so it is quite, if you have a basic kind of understanding of sewing tops and you've sewn a camisole top before, then I'm sure you'd easily be able to figure out how to sew this. She also has a really helpful YouTube video, which again is also in French, but you can watch her sewing it, and obviously that gives you even more of an idea of how this goes together. So I found it fine, even though it was all French. And I used this lovely Stop and Still silky viscose fabric, which I'd had in my stash for a little while and hadn't known what to do with. And I just thought it would be perfect for this top. It's just kind of floaty summer top, which would also be perfect for autumn and winter with a cardi, or, you know, popping anything warm over it. It's actually quite, because it's fully lined and this fabric is it's heavier than I thought. It's quite sort of a luxurious feeling top because it's really silky. This fabric was absolutely lovely, but it was a pain to work with and a pain to cut out. It was very slippery. Cutting out the fabric, it did move a lot, so I needed to put a lot of weight on it and just make sure that I was cutting out accurately, and especially when you're cutting things on the bias, like with these little things. It did shift around quite a lot, so it did take quite a lot of playing with and it frayed terribly. So even on the parts where I didn't really need to overlock, so in the lining, say inside where it's lined, you wouldn't necessarily normally overlock the inside, but I did because it was just so frayy. But yeah, really, really pleased with that. I love French patterns, I love French style, I love the look of all of the patterns on this lady's website. So I think I'll definitely be back to order more. You can actually make this as a dress version as well. So on the pattern, it just gives you the option to kind of slash it high waist length and then add a gathered skirt, which looks really, really lovely. And I'd really like to try that. Obviously, we're coming to the end of summer now, so I'm not quite sure if I'll get that done anytime soon, but it's definitely on my wish list of things to make. Okay, so last but not least, I have this Sudley top, the Megan Nielsen Sudley top, and that is from this pattern, which is the Sudley dress pattern, but it also has the option of making the bodice as a cropped blouse. So I've done option 2, version 2, sorry, which you can see there, and it's just a little cropped blouse with a tie neck. So I have this really beautiful embroidered selvage edge cotton lawn from Higgs and Higgs, which originally I was going to make so over it shift dress from. But when I received the fabric, I realised that of course it's cotton lawn and it's white, so it was very see-through, and I didn't think that it would very easily make an ultimate shift dress. I'd have to line it, fully line it, plus have to deal with kind of matching up the seams of this embroidered fabric as well. So in the end, I thought it would be much better suited as a top, and I haven't tried the top version of that pattern yet. I've made a few dress versions, and of course the pink dress that I just showed you uses the bodice of this dress as well. So I had wanted to try it as a top for quite a while, and one rainy Saturday afternoon I just really wanted something quick and easy to make, so I got this fabric and I just cut out this top. Obviously used the embroidered selvage as the hem of the top, and yeah, just a simple white summer top, well not even summer top, I suppose you could wear it any time really, with a cardi or whatever. So there's no lining. With the dress you fully line the bodice, but with the top you can line it if you want to obviously, but I've gone for the bias binding edge, which you can see I've bound the neck edge, and the binding just carries on around the keyhole neckline, and then you kind of incorporate these little ties in with the binding on the neck edge, and I think it gives a really lovely neat finish, and you haven't got a facing that will show through on anything light and sort of sheer like this, so that's always a bonus. Yeah, so I think it's always good when you haven't actually got a facing, because sometimes with sort of sheer see-through tops you can see the facing through, and I've had that happen to me a couple of times when I've made white tops, so I really like how this is bound rather than faced, is that a word? Rather than faced at the neck edge. I'm so pleased with this. I really, really like it. I love a white top. I've got loads of white tops in my wardrobe. White cotton tops are probably my favourite thing, and I'm always kind of attracted to broderie anglaise or white embroidery like that. So So yeah, it was just a lovely quick make. Okay, so that is it. That is all of my summer makes, everything that I made in July and August, 8 makes in total. If you haven't watched part 1, then do pop over and watch that. I'll link it below. I do hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you like what I've made. Do let me know if you've made any of the patterns that I've sewn up and that I've talked about here. Let me know how you found them. And I'm hoping to be a little bit more regular with my videos once we're back into sort of school and September. I feel like I've been a bit sporadic with them all at the moment and just kind of recording here and there when I can. But it's the summer holidays and we've been out and about more. So I'd love you to subscribe if you haven't already and click the notification bell so you don't miss out on any future videos I might make. I've definitely got a fabric haul video coming up because I've ordered some lovely new fabrics for autumn winter make. And yeah, so I look forward to seeing you in my next video, and thanks very much for watching, and thank you if you've already subscribed. Bye!